Hey guys, I'm Andy.
I'm Tenilej.
And we have a special guest here today, Jacob. I'm not going to give too much away because I want him to be able to explain why he's on here today. But we are so thankful to have you on here today. We need to start having these conversations and not just amongst ourselves, but where people can hear them and benefit from others sharing their story and their journey. And so, Jacob, who are you? And, what brought you to surviving adulthood today?
Right, well, let me tap in before he starts. Okay. I want to just say that, no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say something else, but you go ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, like I said, thank you guys for having me on the show, and it's definitely a privilege. But I'm here under the circumstances that I did suffer from a very bad, inhumane injustice that should have took my life away, but I escaped with my life. The fact that I have screws in my neck, which are now bent and out of place and coming out of the invertebrae.
Wow.
Yeah. So for those that do not know my story, I was beaten nearly to death. There was 8 deputies involved from the San Joaquin County Sheriff's. I can't go into too much detail about the incident,
right?
Because it's an open investigation, and my legal team has advised me not to make any public statements regarding details of the incident. But I could tell you that how it's affected me and the seed they have planted within me that is now growing, and how I'm just fighting for civil rights and justice and shining light on abuse of authority, corruption, and lack of poor leadership. It is just growing within me, and that's all I intend to do. While long after my case is settled, this is with me for life, and I'm glad to share that with you guys.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on. Question: are you able to state why you were initially picked up by them? Why were you in their custody to begin with? Are you able to state that?
They had said that I was arrested for drunk in public, which was completely false. No one called the cops on me. I was at the bar that I was at, and the owner and the bartender, were good friends, and they've told the deputies I would never kick Jake out. He's always been respectful, and nobody called the cops on him. They were just I don't want to go too far in it, but there was just in the area. That location, something had happened. There was an incident, a homicide at that bar. So they were in the area, harassed me, and then took me in for no reason. And I was released the next day. But while I was in there, that's where the incident happened.
So were you surprised at the feedback, how it just you went viral? Because that's how I became to know of you and what happened to you. Is I literally seen, I believe Chuy Gomez,
right?
He posted that on Instagram. I'm like, what? And so I just reposted and reshared it on my story.
Thank you.
As you know, I mean, of course, as you know, especially being someone of color, especially Black people, we see this time and time again. And so it was just, but to me also, even if it happened to a white person, I mean, if it's wrong, it's wrong.
Right.
But especially being targeted because of the color of your skin or some type of prejudice is just wrong.
Right.
So were you surprised at the feedback and the love, the outpour that you received?
After it happened, I sat back and I thought, because I have a lot of friends, social community leaders, and I knew it would have a big impact, but I wasn't sure how far it would go. So I sat back and I sat back and I thought, I knew, okay, once I push the story out, it's going to have a big impact. And I wasn't too sure, you know, I was like, are you ready to, because my life's going to be different. I knew that my life's going to be different once I post this. And I sat back and I thought, and what really put it in gear for me is I thought about how much fun they were having doing this to me, like it was a sport. And I thought about all the stories I've heard about these kind of police brutalities in that county jail, and all the families they ruined, all the boyfriends and husbands and brothers they sent home beat up and didn't say anything and couldn't say anything because they had a record or just were too scared to speak up. And that put in gear for me, and I just, that clicked in my head, and I was like, no, I'm not, this is not gonna ride. I'm not letting this slide. So I messaged maybe 6 community leaders or friends of mine. I said, hey, I'm gonna publish something on Instagram. I don't want to talk about it, but when I post it, just share it. And then maybe like several hours later, George Lopez was reposting it, and D.L. Hughley was reposting it, and it had, so it really, it's great. You know, like right now, the DA, she's, I don't want to say too much, really doing the right thing as far as an injustice, but it's good for me, but it's kind of like, wow, yeah, it's great for me, but you know, if it was anybody else and anybody else that was before me, she would swept it under the rug. Right. They would have got those fabricated charges that they try to put on me like they always do, and which they dropped because the DA dropped them. But yeah, when it had that reaction, I kind of knew it was going to happen. But to go worldwide, I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's really amazing. And you know, my inbox is full with people from New Zealand, all over the UK, Australia, the Netherlands, and it's great because not only is it's an inhumane injustice, you know, what affects, like Martin Luther King said, what affects one of us directly affects us all indirectly. So when we see another human being treated, like we don't even treat our own dogs like that, and it's illegal to treat our own dogs like that. I think we can leave our, like they passed a law, we can't leave our pets out in the cold anymore. So when we see that another human being, you know, we're all going to react to it, no matter where that human being is in the world. We're all going to react to it, and it's a terrible injustice. And I'm happy to be alive, you know. Right. And I have a meeting May 3rd to get my screws taken out, but those are what kept me alive. So
that's a blessing.
Well, praise God.
You know, like hearing just in front of us and to be able to, you know, speak about your story. And I know, like you said, because you're still like going through this case, that there's certain things that you can't talk about.
Right.
But for me, it's like, my question would be like, how do you feel every morning? Like, are you going through therapy right now? Like, have you went through therapy about this, or just like, is the community your therapist going through something like that? Because I can only imagine, you know, like dealing with that. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, no, I am seeing I was looking in a therapist, and I was looking for the right one, because like something with my case, I definitely need to talk to the right type of person.
Right.
But then this happened. I got like all these therapists, had a list of therapists, and I started looking into it, and then the quarantine happened. So that's definitely something I'm looking into as soon as the quarantine is lifted. But, you know, my good community leader, Derek Graves, after this happened, and he shared my story, and he spoke at my press conference, and something had came up. Oh, they were doing a press conference for the sheriffs were doing a press conference for the multi-agency investigation, and he's like, Jake, man, I know you're so stressed out, and you got this and that going on in your head, and I was like, I told him, like, Derek, you know, it's a terrible situation I'm in, but you know, I have no weight on my shoulders, like all this public media, like it doesn't weigh me down a bit. And he told me, he was like, you know, it's kind of messed up to say, but I feel like this happened to you for a reason, for you to shine light on this kind of thing and expose corruption. And I was like, well, I hope, you know, I'm hoping, you know, you're right, and God put me in this position for a reason. But as far as, you know, mental, yeah, it did mess me up a bit. You know, at first, you know, I would have like terrible dreams, and it still lingers. Like you know, I'm a strong person, but you know, it's all in there. It's all inside. You know, I definitely need to let it out and talk to somebody, and that's what I plan on doing.
How has this affected your family? Do you
like
have children? Do you have a family of your own, or just your parents and brothers and sisters and all that?
I'm the youngest of 5. I have no kids, but like I said, what affects one of us directly affects us all indirectly, and it affected, all my family. They all have a heavy heart on it, but they've been right by my side fighting. I have my bi-weekly meetings with Jasmine Della Fosse and the Justice League. They work with Meek Mill. They work with Catherine. Yeah, and if I'm not at a meeting, they're all at the meeting for me. We're all in this together. So, but we had a personal meeting with the district attorney, literally like maybe a week before the quarantine, where they just sat down. I couldn't be at the meeting. They sat down and just discussed different sides. I can't really go into detail, but they were all there. They were all there for me. So it's good. We're all in this together.
So what was your view about the justice system prior to this happening to you, and then what is your outlook on things now?
As a kid, and I've told a couple of friends before, like as a kid growing up, my whole life, I would see this on TV, police brutalities. I would see, the police beat up somebody of ethnic, like black, brown, and I always see them on TV, and we would always talk about it. Like, oh, you see what happened on the news? We'd always talk about it, but I could never relate to it. So then this happened, and then I'm like, wow, I understand. I feel all this, what these victims are going through, like I could never relate to it until now. And then that's why that seed just is planted within me. And it's just a never-ending battle, never-ending war that we're dealing with right now. And, I can't change the world, but I definitely, all together, we can make an impact, like where it is needed.
Did you think that prior to this happening, did you think that it was something that, no, this couldn't happen to you?
No, not at all. And it's, with everything going on right now and how Trump, I don't know everybody's political beliefs, but how Trump
go ahead, speak freely.
has made racism like a very relevant thing more these days with him in office. And I feel like that has given a lot more people, to act upon
the platform on it.
Yeah. And coming from Stockton over here, it's like so racially diverse, growing up. I go to my Asian friend's house, go to my black friend's house, like every man, it's crazy. It's so racially diverse over here, but it just shows that how racism, no matter where you are, is in our own backyards. It's, and we gotta just be careful,
Right.
So.
What are your plans to, because I know you said now, like, basically you're an advocate for these type of things that have happened and that are continuing to happen. So what are some things that you've done or plan to do to help continue the fight?
Oh, man, I'm networking with a lot of people in LA, New York, East Coast, and it kind of sucks. I know the main priority right now is our own health and public health. But I was going to different events and speaking. We were speaking at this next week at the state capitol for California State Capitol for Survivor Walk, Survivor Speak. Just one of many events, but this is, the quarantine's temporary. Everything will be back to normal as it was, but I just can't wait. We were on a roll. I'm just ready to get back to work with my civil rights leaders and my legal team, and just keep pushing for, civil rights and equality, and keep shining light on corruption. And,
That's important, because you could have easily, like you said earlier, how a lot of people did not speak out on the situation because you're not the first. And, unfortunately, you won't be the last. And just having someone that's continuously being an advocate and that you're now passionate about that. So, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm like I said, this is inside me now, and it's not gonna stop until my
Right.
last day. And then
Yes. When it first happened, when Tenilej first found out about it, I just remember her being like so outraged and like sending us stuff, and like how she said she reached out and just just really passionate about us hearing your story and like us learning more. And like even us, she was like, make sure you guys share this, like we got to get this word out, and
Right.
like you said, it's right in our backyard. Stockton isn't too far from us, so just it being that close. And then so
yeah, I appreciate it, you guys. So yeah, just a matter of time to get the ball back rolling, and keep on networking, and just keep it going. That's it.
Right.
I want to know, can you talk to us about, I know you can't go into detail, but what was going through your mind? If you can share a little bit about that as this was just happening. Like, were you just in shock? Like, I'm about to die? Like, what were your thoughts? If
at one point, it was
that.
just trying to stay alive at one point, and I don't think I've ever been in that position. But, as it progressed, and, I was like, okay, these guys are trying to kill me.
Right.
Like legit. And it was just trying to stay alive. And a friend of mine was in booking, because I deal with pain so well. Like pain is like, I don't like pain's like nothing. Like as an individual, but a friend of mine was, and along with other witnesses, they could hear me like screaming. And that's when she told the investigator, she's like, one of the investigators, that I knew he deals with pain so well, and I knew he was in pain because he was screaming, and he would never do that. So it was that's just an example of like what I was going through, just trying to stay alive.
So what kept you, your faith-based, right? You, were you like praying? Were you just trying to just keep your mind off the pain?
To be honest, I don't know. I think I was in so much shock, my brain just didn't process like the pain. Like, yeah, it wasn't really so much pain.
Right.
I feel like I was just like numb at that point, just so much nerve damage done to my face. Like I didn't feel anything, but I'm bleeding everywhere. That's for sure. Right. Nose broken. But yeah, it just wasn't so much pain. It was just more kind of in shock after, like, and then in the video, you could tell me, I don't know if you guys seen the video, you could see when they're walking me out, I'm talking to the deputies. I remember telling, like, well, look what you did to me. Like, why would you do this to me? Like, like for what?
Right. Like,
but I knew what it was for, and we're but.
Well, I'm glad that you did make it out alive, because just hate to see someone else just slain from the hands of some of the police, who are people who are supposed to be protecting us.
Right.
So I'm glad that God was able to hold on to you, and you hold on to him, and I'm sure it's probably an outer body experience, if anything else, from what you're explaining to us. Yeah, because I did see the video. And so, I mean, thank God you were able to walk.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
what were some of the damages, the injuries that happened?
All the damages. So they broke my nose. They fractured, I think, 2 or 3 ribs. There's a certain area in my back where they tore tissue. Luckily, I didn't have any. I need to go back to the ophthalmologist, because they looked behind my eyes, and there was nothing permanent. But I got a lot more blind. Like I can't see as far as I used to. So I need to go back and check that out, get that documented. What was it? My ribs. That's pretty much it. Yeah, just some.
Well, that's enough.
Oh no, I can't really explain what they did to do this, but they, with the screws being bent, they were really trying to snap my neck, and they reopened the fracture, the initial fracture that I had in my C2 vertebrae with the screws. So they were able to reopen it with screws. So that's, you know, just a prime example of how
that's extreme.
Yeah. And so I had the option to get surgery and to get a neck brace for 6 months. So when I went to go see my neurosurgeon after this happened, I literally, the first thing he told me was, aren't you glad you went with the screws? Because if I would have got the neck brace, they would have that refracted
everything truly happens for a reason. Like
it's insane when you think about it, but just such a blessing as well. So, you know, with this life, with me not supposed to still be here, but with me still having my life, I'm just not intending on wasting on anything, and just continue to make an impact where it is needed, most definitely.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it's not about me, it's about all of us.
Yeah.
It's about all of it. It could have been your brother, it could have been your uncle, your dad. Ultimately, it could have been our kids in there. So that's what put it in gear for me. You know, I don't want to make this about me. It happened to me, but it's about all of us. It's about the hundreds of people that message me telling me how they did the same thing to their dad, to their brother. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, it's about all the people that told me that they did this to their boyfriend or whatnot, and they ended up killing them, you know, that lost their life.
Right.
And it's such a reoccurring thing, and it's just terrible. So
do you think that the justice system, the legal system, can be corrected?
Absolutely. It's not the justice system itself, it's the people that run it. Like Isaac Wright said, it's the people that run it and they wreak havoc. But it could be corrected with the right mindsets, with the right certain type of people. But our justice system is a good justice system. The system itself, not the people who run it. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
I can see that. Well, man, I'm just so happy to be able to talk with you, and I can't wait until the investigation is done so we can talk further.
Right.
Yes.
And in person.
By then I'll be going down there and we'll be talking in person. And
yes, Rona will have left us.
Yes.
Bye, Auntie Rona.
I really want you to keep us in the loop if possible. With, speaking engagements that you're involved in, and how we can support you and how we can, share your movement with other people. I feel like that's definitely an important piece, is to not just, let it stop at what happened at that incident, but with you speaking at all of these other places and making sure that we're able to support you in whatever you need, whether it's sharing, on our social media platforms and, telling our friends and family on how we can educate them about certain things. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely will. I'll keep you guys updated with my calendar.
Yes.
And anything like that.
And I follow you on social media now. So Tenilej was on me. I wish I could have that moment recorded when she found out, literally. I was in tears. She was in tears. So just.
Hold on. I think I lost you guys.
No,
okay. Yeah, no, like I said, I had grown men calling and crying because of that, and it's just, like I said, it's just such an inhumane injustice, and it just affected all of us worldwide. Anybody that sees that video can see how evident it is.
Mm-hmm. So. And just to see you now, I was like, oh my God, what's up? So
definitely. Also, too, I want to touch on too is that and our fight, as we fight this fight with you and so many others, that a big part of it to me, and when I have these types of conversations, is that I know sometimes it does take for certain things to happen to us, for us to pay attention, whether it's just you know, how a man treats a woman, and they change things when they have a daughter. It's like, oh, now they have a new revelation. But I just want us to just have more consciousness of, it should not always have to happen to you.
Right.
For things to change. And we can all do our part. You know, of course, sometimes more fire is lit up under our asses when it happens to us. But if you can people can just have a little fire under their butts and think outside the box. Like you said, this could have happened to children, brother, you know, even women. You know, this stuff happens to women too, you know. So I just want people who watch this, and as we continue to help and fight with you and fight other fights, that it doesn't always have to happen to you. It can, you know, for you to jump in. You can just jump in because you know right from wrong.
Yeah. And, you know, when I sat back and thought about it, and what kicked it in gear, it's me thinking of all the victims before me that they've done this to and how much fun they were having. And then even to this day, I'll still get messages, and it's super graphic, and them telling me, let me go to court with you and testify and share my story about what they did. And it just like gives me like, you know, makes me feel not good, but just happy. Like, yes, I'm so glad. That's exactly what I wanted to achieve. I was not speaking for myself, but speaking for all the other victims, and that there hundreds of them have come forward and have so many stories. So it just makes me happy, you know.
That's good. I mean, and like they said, your friend said, I mean, God did chose you. He did choose you, and you decided to step up and to speak. And we all thank you for that. Thank you.
The fight continues. It's not, you know, it's just, I'm just ready to get back to work.
Right? Yeah. Rona, she'll leave soon.
Yeah.
We're ready for her to go.
She's past due.
Yeah, she is definitely past due.
She's late for checkout.
Yes, well, right. Well, thank you so much for talking with us, and next time we'll do this, it'll be in person.
For sure. Looking forward to it, and thank you for having me, you guys, and just stay safe, and you know, just make the best of each day. We'll get through this. You know,
we will. Also, too, Jacob, I want you to let people know where they can find you. You know, how they can help in any way.
Okay, my email is Jacob Servin, IGM @gmail, and my Instagram is Jakey _ JAYKIE _. Perfect. And those are the two mostly. I don't have Facebook, so you can find me those two outlets.
All good.
And then everything else will be below.
Yes.
What was that? I'm sorry.
We said we'll put the links below, like your email and your Instagram, so people could click on it below.
Yes. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, you guys. And enjoy the rest of this day. And God bless.
Yes, God bless you, Jacob.
God bless you too. Bye.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Bye.